Hello students, welcome to this Frames 5 video tutorial on fire. So there's two ways we can proceed here. If you completed the fire project last year, and if you still have access to that file, you can simply open that file from last year. If you don't have access to that file, then you can start with tutorial 1 and work up to this point. So either way, please open your last year project, or you can start. You can go back to tutorial 1 and start with the fire project right from the beginning. Okay, so let's review what we've done so far. We have created a flickering flame, and then we've added another element of a burning or a cooking marshmallow over it. So if it's been a while since you've seen this animation, make sure you press play to remind yourselves what you've done so far. So in this fire tutorial, what we're going to do is we're going to add one more element to this. We're going to increase the length of the movie, and we're going to have basically another scene added on to the end of it. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we need to use your slider, and we need to go right to the beginning of the movie. Now, if you remember in tutorial 1, our original flame or fire animation consisted of 7 different frames. So what we're going to do is we're going to highlight the first 7 frames. So I want you to click on frame number 1 and then hold the control key, click on frame 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now remember, it was this 7 frame loop that kept repeating. All right, from the top toolbar, let's click Copy. Let's use the slider and go all the way to the end of your animation. And I want you to click on the last frame or the credits frame. Then I want you to click Paste. All right, so let's use the slider again and go all the way to the end of the movie. Now, you'll see that the credits page is kind of inserted, or what's happened is it's inserted that series of 7 frames after the credits page. So this is very easy to fix. All you need to do is click on the credits page, hold your mouse button down, and just slide it to the end. Okay, so let's backtrack back to this frame where we've added this new series of 7 frames. Okay, and we know it's new because it no longer has the marshmallow. Okay, click on the next frame, and let's click on the marshmallow group and hit delete. And then what I want you to do is I want you to delete the marshmallow element from all of the rest of the frames. So what we have is we've kind of reset this initial loop of 7 frames showing our flickering fire. We've taken the marshmallow element out of it. So now what we want to do is we want to copy this initial loop. So let's click on this frame here, hold the control key, and click on the remaining frames that have the fire in it. Don't click on the credits page. All right, let's go up to copy and let's click paste. And without clicking anything, if I just click on the slider and move it over, you'll see that it's inserted another loop of 7 frames. So let's click paste again, and let's add another loop of 7 frames. Okay, that should be enough. So let's go up to File, Save. Okay, so let's use the slider and go back to the frame where we have the marshmallow leaving the frame. Then what I want to do is I want to show this burning flame just with the flame again. Nothing else showing in the frame. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to advance 7 frames. And I'm going to go back to our original starting frame. It's probably this one here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes. Okay, so what we're going to introduce in the next 14 frames is an element of water. So what we're going to do is we're going to show a campfire, and then we're going to show the cooking of a marshmallow, and then we're going to show the dousing of that fire with a pail of water. Okay, So I'm on the right frame here. This is where I'm going to start. Remember, I've left some frames to show the fire just flickering on its own. Let's go up to the pencil tool. I want to change the stroke color to a dark blue, and I want to remember this outline color. So if you have a scrap piece of paper, it's nice to write it down. This color I'm going to use is called Heavy Blue 1210. Heavy Blue 1210. Now if you don't like that color, you can choose a different shade of a dark blue, but that's the one I'm going to use. I'm going to click on Fill. I'm going to keep it a solid color for now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose a lighter blue to go inside. So I'm going to write it down, blue 11.5. If you just rest the eyedropper over the color splotch there, you can see what it is. So I'm going to choose blue 11.5. Again, you can use a different shade of blue. It's completely up to you. What I want is a dark outline and a lighter inside, or a lighter fill color. Okay, so I'm going to just experiment with the width. I'm just going to leave it at what it gave me, and then I'm just going to see. So from the top, what I want you to do is I want you to draw a shape that looks similar to this. So it's kind of a puffy shape, kind of like a cloud-like shape, but it's actually a pail of water being dumped onto the fire. So if you like the width of the outline, then you can keep it. If you don't, you can undo, and then you can try something a little thicker or a little bit thinner. I actually liked the width that I had used, but I'm going to redraw this. So I don't want this water element to extend too far into the frame. Remember, I want to show that water element moving towards the fire. Okay, if you've got something that you like, this frame is basically done. So I want you to go to the next frame and then go up to View and turn on your onion skin. Okay, so we see the position of the water in the previous frame. So the onion skin is very helpful because I want to show the water moving towards the flame. So I'm going to kind of have the rough, similar shape, but I'm just going to extend everything a little bit farther down. If you like the look of that, then we're going to go on to the next frame and do the same thing. We're going to show the water moving its way towards the flame. I'm going to go on to the next frame. Try to extend the water the same amount every time. It doesn't have to be exactly, but roughly the same amount. Now you see that this water blob is growing because there's quite a bit of water being thrown onto the flame. Okay, so it looks like in this frame for me, I might actually make contact with the flame, and that's okay. Okay. Now you notice that because this element was drawn after, it's showing its position is in front of the flame. It's blocking out part of the flame, and that's exactly what we want. Okay, so I'm going to go on. Okay, again, the flame is moving. The water element is moving towards the flame, and it's eventually going to cover up the flame. Okay. I can add another bit here, going out like that. Almost looks like a hand. All right, now I'm going to look at my timeline at the bottom, and I'm going to see how many frames I have left. So what I want to do is I want to have this water element completely douse the flame. And you've got to see, right? I've only got a few frames left. So if you think that you're probably not going to have enough frames left, what you can do is you can use our old trick of highlighting the frames that you have left, and you can create another loop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Copy. I've highlighted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I've got a perfect loop left, 7 frames. I'm going to copy, and then I'm going to paste. So that's going to give me a little bit more time to finish this water feature. Okay, so let's go back to the next frame. So I'm going to go back to the pencil, and hopefully it remembered your settings for the pencil. All right, so let's continue moving this water wave, covering up more of the flame. Okay. And again, the position of your water is going to be, everybody's is going to be different. So I'm covering more and more of the flame. Quite a bit of water coming down. So what we can do is we can actually show the end of the water up here. So here's what I mean. So I'm going to start a little bit, most of the time I started off of the frame, but this time I'm going to start up here. And why don't you just wait for me to finish the shape and I'll show you what I mean. So now we see the end or the top of this splash of water, this pail of water. Okay, I'm going to go one more here. Okay. Now, if it looks too confusing, at any time you can go to View and turn off the onion skin to make sure that you can see clearly what your frame is trying to show. Okay, so again, let's have a look in the timeline. How many frames do I have left? Okay, I'm in pretty good shape. So I'm going to continue on. I'm going to turn back the onion skin, turn it back on. This time I'm going to show the water moving towards the bottom of the frame. And I'm going to continue showing that the water is moving out of the frame at the bottom of the frame. Okay. Water is moving really down now. And the tail end of the water is getting smaller and smaller. And with these last few frames, I'm going to try to show that the water is almost completely passed from the top of the frame to the bottom of the frame. And maybe in this one, I'm just going to have the last tip here of the water. And maybe for this one, I'll just have one little piece here. That didn't turn out. Let's try that again. Okay. All right, so that leaves me a few frames at the end, and that's okay. Okay, so I'm going to go back and turn off the onion skin. So what you want to do is you want to decide at what point is the flame actually being extinguished or being put out. So you need to decide. So that's usually the frame where the water is covering almost 80 to 90% of the flame. So it could be this frame or it could be this frame. It might even be this frame. This is probably the frame, okay? So what we want to do in this case is we want to actually delete the flame. So here's how we're going to do that. We're going to go up to the toolbar, from the tools on the right-hand panel, and we're going to click on the arrow tool. And then we're going to click on the elements of the flame, and then we're just going to click on them and then hit delete. Okay, so click on all of these elements, and then you see now we've completely deleted the flame underneath the water. So let's go on to the next cell and do the same thing. We're going to click on all of these flame elements and then just hit delete. We're going to keep going. We're going to do that for the remainder of all of the frames, because it doesn't make sense that if the water doused the fire, then why would there still be flames? So we're just going to get rid of all these. Now, if you want to delete a lot of things at once, what you can do is with the arrow tool, just drag a box so that it's touching all of the elements you want to get rid of, and then hit delete. So that's a quick way to do it. It's difficult to do it when you've got an element that you don't want to delete. That's why I waited to teach you that till the end. So for this frame, it's going to be very easy. I can just highlight all of the parts of the flame and then hit delete, and should take care of everything. Now this is easy because there's no more water, so I can just create a large box and hit delete. And then I've got a couple frames to go. You go to the end. Okay, so here's a good time to save. So let's click on the save button. And then what you should do is you should go all the way back to the beginning and press play and have a look. Okay, I forgot to click on the first frame. Make sure in your timeline you click on frame 1, then you hit play. So we want to see that marshmallow burning. We want to see the marshmallow being taken away. And then we want to see the fire flickering for a bit, and then this water element dousing the fire. Okay? All right, so I want you to save your work, and this concludes this frames video tutorial on Fire Part 7. Please continue on with the next tutorial without calling Mr. Ueda over. Thanks for watching. Bye.